Hi y'all, and welcome to the very first episode of Cammie's Kitchen. I cannot wait to share this recipe with you guys. Today we will be making a creamy and delicious Dijon chicken. I swear I get asked for this recipe at least once a week. Let's get into it. Before we season our chicken, the first thing we want to do is make sure our pan is nice and hot. Now you can really use any kind of seasoning you like, but for this specific recipe, I encourage you to use your favorite poultry seasoning. Mine is this Cluckalicious seasoning that we were recommended to by a friend. We've been using it for literally every chicken dish. It's incredible, as well as just your basic Italian seasoning. You cannot go wrong with this. Any brand is fine. It doesn't really matter which seasoning you start with, just make sure all of the chicken is covered. And if you're gonna do this like me with no gloves on or no tongs, make sure you wash your hands before. This may seem like a lot of seasoning, but this is a whole tray of chicken. And remember that our base is not gonna be heavy cream, it's gonna be cottage cheese. So we want it to be really nice and flavorful when we get to that part. Once your pan is nice and hot and your chicken is seasoned, it's time to put some oil on this pan. The trick to getting a really juicy chicken is you want to cook it on both sides for at least 5 minutes on high heat. You're gonna notice that they're gonna look a little burnt, and that's exactly what you want. After that, take them out of the pan, let them sit while we make the sauce. Now, some people that do some recipes like this like to make sure that the chicken is fully cooked. I don't think that is such a big deal. I actually prefer if the chicken is not all the way cooked during this step, because I really like it to finish cooking in the sauce that we're gonna make. So you really just want a really quick sear and then out. To make the sauce, your base is going to be green onion and garlic. Make sure that you do not clean the pan after your chicken's out. All these delicious juices you want to keep. If you notice that your pan is really hot from the chicken, make sure that you add some chicken broth right after you add the garlic and the green onion. This is what separates this recipe from all the other ones. We use cottage cheese instead of heavy cream, instead of cream cheese, instead of all those heavy sauces. Another thing I love about using cottage cheese is that you get all that extra protein that you don't get from using whole milk or just milk substitutes or heavy cream. I'm gonna use a whole container of this. And it would not be a Dijon chicken if we didn't add Dijon mustard. The amount of Dijon is literally personal preference. So I always just start with a little bit, and then once the sauce is made, I like to start trying it. And then if you want it a little more spicy, just keep adding it until you're happy with the flavor. The only downside I would say to using cottage cheese is that you have an extra step because you have to now blend it to get that creaminess we like. There we go. Time to combine. Oh my gosh, look how beautiful that sauce is. If you're using a small handheld blender like I am, I hate how you waste a lot of the sauce in there, so I like to add a little bit of chicken broth directly in there. We want to get as much of the sauce as possible. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little more Dijon. And then also, I feel like it's missing a little bit of seasoning. I know the chicken's already seasoned, but I'm gonna go ahead and add one of these really amazing chicken cubes. I literally cook everything with one of these. That should be good. Next, we're gonna add our cheese. You can do Parmesan, is amazing in this recipe. I'm actually using smoked Gouda because this is all I had in the fridge. Still amazing. Now that our sauce is finished, we can start incorporating the chicken. all these delicious juices that you got from your chicken sitting in this bowl, you don't want to throw those out. You actually want to put those right back in the pan. In order to make sure that there's sauce on both sides, I like to just turn them once and then cover the pan. 45 minutes will be perfect, but if you do have the time, I always like to let it cook for as long as I can, because the longer you let it cook on that low heat, the more tender and pull apart your chicken's gonna be. Chicken is about done cooking. The last thing we're gonna do is chop up some fresh parsley to add on the top. This will really complement the creaminess of your sauce, and it just looks dang good on the top. An hour later, let's see what we got. Last but not least, oh my gosh, looks amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I cannot wait to share all of my recipes with you. If you try this recipe, please let me know in the comments below. And if you want a delicious dessert, make sure to check out my next video, which is going to be a discard chocolate chip muffin recipe. Bye, y'all.